Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Namaду Nusalli ala Rasul al-Kareem. Excellencies, distinguished High Commissioners, Ambassadors, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon. Indeed, it's a great pleasure to welcome you at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. As you are aware, the entire Pakistani nation is commemorating the first anniversary of Marke-Haq. It marks a historic moment when our brave armed forces, with the resolute support of the entire nation, valiantly defended the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of Pakistan against unprovoked Indian aggression last year. The highly successful Operation Bunyad al-Marsoos was not only a testimony to the professionalism, courage and determination of Pakistan's brave armed forces, but also an unequivocal message by the people of Pakistan that together they will thwart any attempt to undermine Pakistan's peace and prosperity. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Indian aggression against Pakistan last year was a highly provocative, irresponsible and reckless act of hubris that dragged the entire region to the brink of disaster. The Indian adventurism was preceded by what appeared to be a calculated escalation pattern involving allegations against Pakistan, inflammatory rhetoric, instrumentalizing the Islamophobic narrative of justifying hostility. Immediately after the Pahalgam incident on 22nd of April 2025, India in a knee-jerk response blamed Pakistan without presenting any credible evidence. Despite Prime Minister of Pakistan Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif's offer for a transparent and independent investigation, and despite repeated calls for restraint by the international community, the United Nations and the OIC, India chose the path of belligerence and aggression between the night of 6th and 7th of May last year. India deliberately targeted civilian areas under a false pretext, resulting in a martyrdom of innocent men, women and children. These actions also posed a grave risk to commercial air traffic, endangering thousands of passengers as several civilian flights were in the air at that time. The motive behind this brinkmanship, which placed millions of lives at risk, was to divert attention from India's state-sponsored terrorism and continued suppression of the rights of the self-determination in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Above all, it was yet another irresponsible and dangerous ploy driven by narrow domestic political objectives. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, India failed on all accounts. Acting under Article 51 of the UN Charter in self-defense, Pakistan, under the leadership of the then the Army Chief, Sayyid Asam Munir, who is now the Field Marshal and the Chief of Defense Forces, gave a determined and decisive response, which was measured, collaborated, and proportionate directly solely to military installations. Pakistan's resounding success in drowning off several Indian fighters, jets, and drones under the leadership of the Air Chief Marshal Zahir Ahmad Babar Sidhu and the neutralization of multiple military targets is an indisputable reality. These facts are widely documented and acknowledged and stand as a matter of record beyond the reach of misinformation or propaganda. Pakistan Navy was also alert and ready for any challenge under the leadership of Admiral Naveed Ashraf. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, through its resolute response, Pakistan reaffirmed that the only acceptable normal in international relations in respect for the principles enshrined in the UN Charter, including sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence. It was also established that the regional peace and stability will not be held hostage to the politics of hatred and division, and that Pakistan will defend every inch of its territory while safeguarding its citizens. We commend the role and efforts of President Trump in helping achieve a ceasefire and in bringing South Asia back from the brink of an unprecedented disaster. We also remain appreciative to the constructive role played by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Turkey, as well as our other friendly countries in the region and beyond. Excellencies, the events of last year once again underscore that the unresolved Jammu and Kashmir dispute continues to undermine peace and security in the entire South Asia. We must ensure renewed and concerted efforts under United Nations auspices to secure a just, lasting, and peaceful resolution of this dispute in accordance with the relevant Security Council resolutions and the aspirations of the Kashmiri people. India's illegal and unilateral decision to hold in abeyance the Indus Water Treaty and its weaponization of water is also a matter of great concern for the international community. The treaty provides no basis for such unilateral actions. India's move undermines a fundamental pillar of regional stability and has serious implications for the peaceful management of shared resources. The National Security Committee of Pakistan made it very clear that any attempt to stop or divert the flow of water belonging to Pakistan under the Indus Water Treaty will be considered as an act of war. The UN Security Council convened close consultation under the agenda item the India-Pakistan question on 6th of May 2025 at Pakistan's request. Pakistan's position was reflected in the Council's deliberations as members expressed deep concern over the growing risk of escalation and emphasized the urgent need for restraint and de-escalation, including concerns regarding attempts to undermine the Indus Water Treaty. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's position also received an authoritative international validation in December 2025 when UN Special Rapporteurs and independent experts confirmed in a formally released report that India's use of force inside Pakistan following the 22nd of April Pahalgam incident violated international law and risked escalating a volatile region which could have a very serious conflict between the two nuclear-armed states. Beyond India's unilateral decision to hold the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance and its attempt to politicize shared water resources, Pakistan has observed a concerning pattern of irregular and unexplained fluctuations in river flows over the recent period, raising serious questions regarding compliance with established treaty obligations. Earlier in April 2025, we have twice observed unusual abrupt variations in the flow of the river Chenab, first between 30th of April and 21st of May 2025, and then again between 7th and 15th of December last year. More recently, on 2nd of May 2026, the flow of the river Jhelum was observed to rise sharply within a short span of time before dropping again significantly within the same time. Similarly, during 2nd and 3rd of May 2026, unusual and unexplained variations were recorded in the river Chenab, including a marked decrease in flow during the early hours of 3rd of May 2026, well below expected seasonal levels. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, these developments taken together reflect a worrying pattern of irregularity and underscore the urgent need for full transparency, uninterrupted data sharing, and strict adherence to all notification and operational obligations under the Indus Water Treaty. We hope that India will draw the appropriate lessons from the events surrounding its actions and Pakistan's response under Marka-e-Haq. First, any misadventure against Pakistan will be met with full might, resolve, and determination. Second, the legitimate struggle of the Kashmiri people for self-determination cannot be suppressed by the Indian occupation. Instead of externalizing blame for its ongoing suppression of Kashmiri people, India must take immediate and meaningful steps towards a just settlement of the Jammu and Kashmir dispute in accordance with relevant UN Security Council resolutions and the aspirations of the Kashmiri people. Third, durable peace in the South Asia can only be built on equality, mutual respect, and peaceful resolution of disputes. India's persistent reliance on unilateralism and jingoism are a threat to regional peace and stability. Excellencies, Pakistan remains a firm believer in the enduring relevance of multilateralism and the peaceful resolutions of all disputes. We support universal and consistent adherence to the principles of UN Charter, including self-determination, the non-use or threat of force, and the peaceful settlement of disputes. These principles are not only abstract ideals, these are essential foundations for sustaining global peace and stability. Pakistan's current membership of the UN Security Council provided us an important opportunity to advance principled, balanced, and constructive engagement on issues of international peace and security. As an elected member, Pakistan has focused on bridging divides, promoting dialogue, and strengthening the role of elected members through more transparent and inclusive working methods. During its presidency of the UN Security Council in July 2025, Pakistan convened a high-level ministerial debate on promoting international peace and security through multilateralism and the peaceful settlement of disputes. The unanimous adoption of Resolution 2788, after many years there was a unanimous resolution in the Security Council during our presidency, further underscored this commitment, marking a concrete outcome of its efforts to strengthen multilateral approach to conflict prevention and resolution. Pakistan has consistently emphasized that unresolved and protected disputes, particularly those involving foreign occupation or the denial of self-determination, remain among the gravest threats to the international peace. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, durable peace cannot be achieved through force or coercion. Justice, respect for fundamental rights, particularly the right of self-determination, the peaceful settlement of disputes, and the faithful implementation of the UN resolutions remain indispensable to sustainable global stability. Guided by these principles, Pakistan has actively worked to strengthen cooperation across multilateral platforms available on the globe. During our presidency of the Council, Pakistan convened a briefing on enhanced cooperation between United Nations and Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC), underscoring the importance of closer coordination among multilateral institutions in addressing shared challenges and advancing common objectives. At the regional level, Pakistan's engagement is anchored in the wide network of multilateral forums, including the OIC, the Economic Cooperation Organization ECO, and the D8, which serve as important frameworks for promoting dialogue, cooperation, and shared development. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan looks forward to assuming the upcoming ECO chairmanship of the Council of Foreign Ministers and the ECO summit in 26-27. This will provide an important opportunity to further advance regional economic integration and connectivity. Pakistan also continues to play an active and constructive role within Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO. Pakistan will assume the chair later this year and will host the summit of the heads of state next year in 2027. Pakistan aims to deepen regional cooperation across Eurasia, particularly in trade, connectivity, security, and sustainable development. Building on these engagements, Pakistan is deepening its partnership with Central Asian states across diverse sectors, particularly in connectivity, trade, energy, cooperation, and infrastructure development. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's continued collaboration with its all-weather strategic partner China, including through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, generally known as CPEC, remains a key pillar of its regional connectivity agenda, contributing to shared prosperity, development, and economic integration. In parallel, Pakistan maintains a broad and constructive partnership with the European Union, encompassing political dialogue, trade, development, cooperation, and climate-related priorities, reflecting a shared commitment to stability, sustainability, and inclusive and shared growth. In Africa, Pakistan's engagement is rooted in historic ties of solidarity and shared struggles for self-determination and respect for sovereignty. Pakistan continues to advance for African perspectives to remain central in the Security Council's deliberations while supporting African-led peace and security initiatives, particularly those of the African Union and sub-regional organizations. Pakistan's peacekeepers serving under the United Nations have made and continue to make important contributions to peace and stability across the continent. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan remains supportive of initiatives aimed at strengthening multilateral cooperation, including the Global Governance Initiative, which seeks to make the global governance system more responsive to the needs and aspirations of the developing countries while addressing shared global challenges. In the Middle East, Pakistan, together with other 8 Arab and Islamic countries, remains committed to advancing the comprehensive plan to end the Gaza conflict in line with Security Council Resolution 2803. In pursuance of this objective, Pakistan joined the Board of Peace in January 2026 when Prime Minister of Pakistan Shehbaz Sharif formally signed the Board of Peace document, which seeks to facilitate implementation of the Gaza peace plan and support the reconstruction of Gaza in the near future. Pakistan firmly believes that sustainable peace in the Middle East requires an end to occupation and the full and faithful implementation of agreed peace initiatives leading to the establishment of a sovereign, independent, viable, and contiguous state of Palestine based on pre-1967 borders with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital, an outcome that remains essential for lasting peace and stability in the region. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's constructive engagement in recent and ongoing efforts for promoting dialogue and de-escalation in the Gulf region reflects its consistent commitment to peace and stability. Drawing on its relationship across the region, Pakistan has made efforts to reduce tensions and create space for meaningful engagement among key stakeholders. I can share with you that right from the first day, 28th of February, I was actually traveling when Iran was attacked. Pakistan was the first one to come out, and Foreign Office condemned that attack. Within hours, same day, the attacks started on the Gulf countries. We continued to make efforts, and we had no choice but to also condemn those attacks on our friendly and brotherly countries, GCC. Since that day, we have been continuously making efforts with all the stakeholders, and particularly US and Iran, to sit and negotiate between them and reach to a truce and end this conflict. As you are all aware, that eventually, after a gap of 47 years, during which the two parties never agreed to sit together and have direct dialogues, Pakistan managed, and Pakistan was able, as a result of its untiring efforts led by Prime Minister Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif and supplemented by Field Marshal Sayyid Asim Munir and the Foreign Office of Pakistan, we managed to get them to hold direct talks after 47 years in this very beautiful city of Islamabad. It was a marathon session of 21 hours, which started in the afternoon of 10th and ended early hours of 11th of April. I'm happy to say that things proceeded and progressed very, very positively, but the parties needed to go back to their capitals and the leadership for the consultation. So they left on 11th. We as facilitator and mediator tried to do a duty for the region and beyond. I think they made very good progress by 11th morning, but as I said, they had to leave and consult. What did we achieve? At least even before the negotiations started, we managed to convince for a ceasefire. So the ceasefire later on was extended, and a third extension, second extension, and a third extension. What is our objective and aim is to continue to convince both sides as an honest facilitator and mediator to negotiate and reach a peaceful settlement. This is need for the region. This is need for the globe. This is need, for the economy of the world. Whatever has happened so far, it has already dented your global GDP to a great degree. It's not me, it's the international financial institutions who are saying this thing. So, the way the prices of energy have shot up. The affordability of the common man has become fairly difficult. The supply chain has been disrupted. So, the end of this conflict is the goal and the aim. As facilitator, and I want to acknowledge all those countries, all the multilateral institutions who actually reached out to Pakistan and were kind enough to support this initiative, has expressed their willingness to assist wherever it is required. Since 28th of February, I, as Foreign Minister of Pakistan, have the pleasure of speaking to or receiving calls from 121 colleagues, my colleague foreign ministers. Between India and Pakistan wars, you'll be amazed. My calls was around 60. It's already crossed the double of you can see the seriousness of Pakistan in making all the sincere efforts to get the two parties to reach to a truce and end this conflict, which is hitting almost everybody, directly or indirectly, in the region and beyond. So, Excellency, I just wanted to, avail this opportunity. Most of those calls are, to my colleagues sitting here in the Foreign Office, to their foreign ministers or deputy prime ministers, my colleagues. And as I said, UN Secretary General, European Union Vice President, you name a country and it would be in our list. So the entire consultative process is aimed at getting this conflict over as soon as it can be done. So obviously it takes two to tango. We are doing our best and we are very hopeful that, God willing, Pakistan will succeed with the efforts, with the wishes, with the messages of all of your capitals. During this entire process, I had an opportunity. I was invited by my great friend, Foreign Minister Wang Yi, to Beijing for a day to consult on the matter. And I'm sure most of you would have seen during the one-day deliberations on this issue, conflict in the Middle East, US-Iran conflict, we managed to come up with 5 points peace initiative for the region, which actually was supported by dozens of countries over the phone, through the messages. Objective: just work for the global peace and bring back, the lost prosperity, the economic viability, the within the reach prices of the energy, which has become almost doubled in this whole process. So Pakistan is, I would say, is discharging its duty as a member of the global community to do our best, and we greatly acknowledge, all our friendly countries who have been supporting and encouraging us to continue this effort, whether it is Central Asian states, whether it's South Asia, the West Asia, the Middle East, you name it, the Europe, Americans, everywhere. So from Australia to Canada to everywhere, we have been in touch on regular basis. So objective is common, as that this this conflict ends in a dignified manner. It should be win-win, obviously, because of the sensitivity of the matter and the responsibility as a facilitator and mediator. I regret that I cannot divulge the detail, because a facilitator and mediator is expected to be very discreet. Pakistan sincerely doing this business, and attempts for the purpose of the regional and the global security, which must be worked for by everyone who believes in these principles, which Pakistan surely does. So we are pleased to, as I said, that we are pleased to facilitate all these efforts, and we are very hopeful that the Islamabad talks, which represent an important diplomatic breakthrough, as I said, after 47 years, and it was a historic moment for us when we managed to convince them happily that they would have direct talks. We are grateful to the both countries, their desire that in these direct talks we should be present, Pakistan should be present, and we did so. So we are very glad that it reached to a very advanced level, and we still hope that it will eventually and hopefully very soon conclude. This obviously timely opportunity was carefully preserved and was built upon and worked on. As I said, that the remote partnership, mostly all of countries sitting here, their high commissioners, their ambassadors, their support means a lot to us. Concluding, I would say that Pakistan policy has consistently been guided by our commitment to peaceful resolution of disputes, dialogue and diplomacy. We have been consistently saying these things, and we are believers, and that shows why we and what we choose last year. The ministerial, thematic subject, that was multilateralism, peaceful settlement of disputes. So that shows Pakistan resolve and Pakistan thinking. At the same time, I would reiterate that whenever our sovereignty and territorial integrity have been challenged, Pakistan has demonstrated both, alhamdulillah, resolve and capability in defending our beloved motherland under the able leadership of our armed forces of Pakistan. We remain convinced that peace cannot be achieved through coercion and unilateralism or bloc politics, but only through dialogue, mutual respect, and adherence to international law and the UN Charter. Pakistan stands ready to work with all its neighbors and global partners in working for advancing the peace, stability, and shared prosperity in the region and beyond.